Inside this box is a brand new Sony camera. And I know what you're thinking, so before you freak out, before you type anything down in the comments, no, I am not switching. I do not get to keep this camera. What is inside this box is on loan to me from Sony. So we're gonna unbox it together. I'll show you what it's like, probably as a Canon shooter, because I know a lot of you are, but I'll show you what it's like to open a Sony product and actually talk about some of the history that my channel has with Sony and with Sony cameras that you might not be aware of. Open here. Oh boy. Okay, not that side. Not the happy side. Oh, I see why it's the happy side. Oh, look at that. Oh. So the truth is that this isn't the first Sony camera that I've used. Oh, look at that. We've got the return label. See, just to prove that I don't get to keep it, I can't show you the return label because it has my address on it, but we've got a return label. A lot of the photographers and content creators that you've seen on my channel that I'm friends with, or you've seen me go out and film YouTube videos with, shoot on Sony. And so already I've probably been exposed to more Sony cameras than the average photographer. So much so that there are cameras from Sony that I recommend. And you can go down in the description and see exactly which ones those are. Came with a whole Pelican case. No, this is not sponsored by Lens Rentals, but it looks like Sony does use lensrentals.com to send out some gear. So that's cool. Also super handy that I have it in a Pelican case. So I thought this was gonna be more of an unboxing. I didn't realize this was just gonna be more of like a showing you what I got. But you can go through my Instagram grid and I'd say it's about 50-50. So some of the photos that you see that are of me are either shot with my camera where I hand it off to someone, or if it's more of like a candid photo, then usually what happens is it's a photo that like Stefano or Rich or one of my other friends has shot of me while we're out on our photo adventures. And you might recall that last year I went to Sony Condo and I tested the A7C2, the A9 III. I didn't get to test an A1 because all of them were booked out, and a bunch of lenses. And I still have a video that's coming out with the A9 Mark III where I got to shoot wildlife photography. There are some of you in the comments who have been adamant about me testing more Sony cameras and about me trying wildlife photography. So stay tuned, there is a full video on that, and I got one really awesome photo out of that I can't wait to share. I have a few more pieces that I need to record before it's ready. Okay, can I do it like this? Nope, we're just gonna do it like this, and then I'll show you once it's open. Well, it's kind of all revealed at once now. Look what we've got here. Wouldn't you like to see it? Okay, we'll start with the lens first, because this is the lens that I think a lot of Canon photographers would be interested in. This is the 28-70. And as a lot of you know, Canon also has one of these lenses, but it took Sony a few extra years to come up with their version. It is a little bit smaller. I haven't used the Canon RF 28-70 extensively, but I have held it and I have shot a few test samples with it. But I will say, taking an initial first impression look at the Sony lens, it does feel like it is a little bit lighter. Another thing you might also not realize is that there are videos on my channel that have been filmed entirely with Sony cameras. There's a bug crawling on my light. Die, bug. Or in particular, there is quite a lot of B-roll where if you see me holding a Canon camera and it was a video where I was probably also out with like Stefano or Rich, then more than likely the B-roll that you're seeing was filmed on a Sony camera. So maybe some of you are feeling a little bit deceived at this point, but in full transparency, anytime I am reviewing a Canon product and I'm trying to show you, okay, like this footage was shot with Canon, I'll usually put a little tag down in the bottom or you know, put all of the metadata of the settings of the photo that I'm showing you. And I think it's also healthy to have a channel that not just focuses on one particular system, especially if you are someone who is reviewing gear or reviewing cameras. Like I know a lot of you have commented down below, well, like, aren't you a Canon ambassador? Like, how are you talking about, you know, Hasselblad or Lumix or, you know, I get a GFX in, and you guys were like, why are you talking about all these other cameras? And while I have been offered to become a Canon ambassador, I actually turned it down because I didn't want to feel like I was recommending things to you because I had to. And I know not all ambassadors are like that. There are ambassadors for different camera systems or different platforms out there who are allowed to use whatever they want. But in transparency, in being open and honest to you, I want to be able to try all different cameras. Whether that means Canon or Sony or Hasselblad or Lumix or Fujifilm. We have another lens in here because I might be vlogging with the camera that I'll show you the camera at the end. We're holding out in suspense because I know you want to see it. But in order to vlog and probably to do some comparisons, I also asked to borrow a wide angle lens. And so the wide angle lens that makes the most sense to compare to my Canon 15-35 is the Sony G Master 16-35 II. Now there's a chance that if you have been following me on Instagram and paying attention to my stories, that depending on the timing of when you're watching this, you may have already seen some spoilers of what it is that I plan to shoot with the camera that they sent me. And I think it's time to finally get into that camera. I think this is probably a little bit anticlimactic because I thought it would come in a box, but this is the box or the Pelican case that they sent. And inside the Pelican case is the Sony A1 Mark II. And I apologize because it's wrapped up, so we're gonna have to unwrap it here. But one of the things that's kind of fun, and I mentioned this in a previous video, is that all of the Sony Alpha like owned branded cameras, that the ones that they had at Kondo, have this orange custom Peak Design sling. Can I get it out? It's all tangled, hold on. So it's kind of a fun little touch to see both the Peak Design anchors and the Peak Design strap have that Sony Alpha orange. And also, if you know, you know, but this is literally my favorite strap right now because I saw this strap on a Sony camera when I went to Kondo. Tongue twister. Now I will be talking about this camera in another video to kind of show you some of the photos and some of the features, and specifically that lens is what I'm really interested in testing. But the Alpha 1 Mark II has the same tilty, flippy screen that is on the A9 Mark III. So super versatile if you're trying to take photos from a low angle or kind of like vlog and take footage of yourself. But also if you want to do kind of like chest down stuff, and then you've got the screen that you can look down and it's in line with the viewfinder and the lens and the direction that you're shooting photos. But also the body itself is kind of redesigned to what the A9 Mark III has. And it has some extra custom buttons that if you're coming from like an A7 III or an A7 IV that you're probably not used to seeing. But overall, a very slick camera design. And I do need to set this up, so we're gonna be doing that off camera, but stay tuned for the next couple of videos where I go in deep and give you some of my thoughts as we take this out and do fun things with it. So until the next one, grab your camera, grab your lens, put them together so that you can actually get out and go shoot photos.